Hello, hello, hello. This is Jade Marie. Thank you for tuning in to my channel today. This is, of course, Jade's Jewels. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to this video. Today, we are going to be talking about a topic that has actually been very trendy, probably about the last year or two. But I definitely wanted to share my perspective on this topic. And as you can see from below, what we'll be talking about is brown skin femininity. And this definitely addresses the significance and particularly the importance of African American women of all shades to embrace their inner femininity. And so I really just hope that you enjoy the tips and the information that I have for you. You all know that my channel is all about really enlightenment, education. I do talk about some very passionate topics, but I do talk about them in a way not solely from my perspective, but I always try to add knowledge, facts, and things of that nature to layer it so that as opposed to me ranting about what I think, what I can say is, hey, these are the facts. Now, I do have an opinion based on the facts, but let me outline my opinion or my perspective with facts. And so that's the reason why I named my channel Jade's Jewels. I hope you all really enjoy this video. And again, thank you so much, my lovelies, my jewels, my gems, the subscribers, and just even anyone that is just viewing the video. Make sure that you also click the notification bell so that as I continue to post this yummy content, you will have the opportunity to catch it when I'm first dropping knowledge, okay? So, didn't want to make the intro too long. I am going to go ahead and take a sip of my sparkling water. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and hit the bell at least one time just so we can cleanse the energy and be focused. Make sure that you relax your shoulders. Relax your jawline. Relax your temple. Okay. Well, I'm definitely feeling better. I hope you all feel that as well. I'm trying to get this little bubble right here out of my top. But anyway, without further ado, we are about to get into this topic. So, brown skin femininity. What does that mean? Of course, here lately, there has definitely been a lot of momentum around femininity, particularly for African American women and many women. And I believe the reason why there has been so much light shed on this topic is because for many of us, particularly people of color, we don't always get the that natural environment to embrace our femininity. So I'll say that first and foremost. And so now I believe it's gaining more attention because there is more of a space and a place for us to begin to realign ourselves and our thoughts in terms of femininity. Now, it is so important for African American women, women of color, to embrace as well as embody their femininity. Many of us know that as a human being, we are spiritual, we have our souls, we live in our body. Typically, our gender dictates our sex or certain aspects, But we know now, it's particularly in 2020, that you have trans and just other non-gender identifying individuals. But particularly for this, what I want to shed light on right now, the reason for me saying that is because regardless of what you identify as, if you are someone that identifies as a woman, or if you're someone that identifies as a man, or you don't identify with either, we all have feminine as well as masculine energy inside of us. We all have the yin and the yang energy. For women, the masculine energy, it's what gives us our drive for our career. It helps us to make decisions. It helps us to take action when we need to take action. And so, particularly throughout our history, the feminist movement, slavery, just other things, what it has done is it has shifted our mindset in terms of our perception of femininity. And sometimes it puts us in our masculine energy or in our masculine mode. And oftentimes, what happens is because we do have to work, we do have to make decisions, we do have to secure our bag and be a boss. I totally support that. However, we do still have to give room to honor the other part of who we are. And that other part is our feminine side. And so if you, even right now, just in the very beginning of this video, if you know that you're always in accomplishment mode, let me get this, you're always in an action mode, this is a great time for you to just think about, okay, how can I make sure that at the end of the day, I'm creating space for me to embody and embrace my femininity. So, but particularly brown skin femininity, for far too long, African American women have been stripped of their right to be viewed as truly feminine, not particularly just sex objects. We know that African American women statistically and historically have very beautiful, curvy, voluptuous, sumptuous, vivacious bodies. We all know that the energy of African American women, because of our body, sometimes it gets transformed into strictly sexual. And so in this particular case, I'm not talking about being sexual, I'm talking about being feminine. But for a very long time, Black women have either had to be very sexy or very strong, but never truly having that space again and that place to just be feminine. And so I'm going to get into my perception, as well as you can look at historical facts that will support this. But a part of the reason why that is because, and you all have heard me talk about this topic before, and I will continue to talk about this topic, and I will continue to bring up this term, and that term is social programming. Social programming has oftentimes shaped the way that we look at other people, other demographics. It oftentimes even shapes the way that we look at ourselves, as well as people that look like us. And so I've done videos before on what that looks like, even in terms of back in the 1600s with the Jim Crow law and blackface. And because people strategically used blackface to manipulate the public's perception of Black people. And even still going further into this topic, the reason why I bring up social programming is because a lot of what we see in the media, in social media, literally now, almost every, but I won't say every, but many movies, television shows, whether it's a podcast or whatever, but the depiction of the African American woman particularly if she has brown skin, is always a little bit more aggressive. It's very strong. And to be completely honest with you, it's very masculine. Excuse me. Um, and so that's why I want to kind of break up some of this information into pieces in terms of why it is very important for us to be conscious of what we're taking in with the images that we see, whether it's what we see on social media, whether it's what we're feeding ourselves when we're watching TV. Oftentimes, I mean, and you all, even the comedy that we hear, it always casts a light as brown skinned black women always having to be strong, always having to be hard. We have to provide, we have to be single mothers, we have to figure these things out. And particularly, they cast us in these lights because what it often demonstrates is there's no need for the masculine. And when I'm saying the masculine now, I'm not referring to the energy that you have within yourself. I'm referring to the energy or a masculine individual. So having a protector. What media and movies often do is they show the black woman without having a protector. And so because she doesn't have a protector, she doesn't have a provider, she has to be this strong black woman. She has to work so hard. She has to provide for her kids that their dad is either not there or just sees them on the weekend. And so when we look at even some of the realities that we see playing out right now, even in our own lives, we see that we've some type of way been socially programmed to, number one, expect this to be normal, but number two, we've been socially programmed so much to the point to where what we have seen has now become our own reality. Even outside of social programming, if we look at the history of slavery, this is why it's very important for black women to embrace their femininity. Slavery not only tore the fabric of the black family, the African American family, being that fathers and mothers were constantly being torn apart. They would breed slaves together and literally take the male away, sell him, or just not have him around his family. These things have been done strategically since African Americans or since Africans have been coming over here via the slave passage. So via that way. If you came over on a boat due to slavery. Now we know people of color lived in the United States, in America, long before the boats came over. But particularly if you came from a slave trade, if you came due to that type of way, what happened with the black family was that the black male was oftentimes removed, sold, murdered. And when we even think about that, we can see how, not only how, but we can see a cycle even now, and maybe begin to think about it a little bit more in terms of why don't we see more black marriages? Why don't we see more black men in the home with their wife and kids? Many black men are excellent fathers, but there are times and instances where they're not in the home with their kids. But if we look at history and what has taken place, as well as how we've been socially programmed, how our generations, because many times things are generational, they've already done the research that shows, they did it with rats, but they've done it with several animals. If the mother or if the parent animals or parent beings are exposed to certain types of trauma, oftentimes the kids will begin to feel that, and it can be passed through the womb. So it's very important, if we know that historically men were taken out of the home and ripped from the black family to make the black woman become more independent, honestly own her masculine energy more than what she would have naturally had to. So this is what we're thinking about. Black women have to own and utilize their masculine energy much more often than any female counterpart or any female demographic that is out there. And this is a part of the reason why social programming, slavery, even if you look at certain aspects of the feminist movement, what it did was for Black women who already had to be masculine, it just supercharged some women to become even more masculine. And again, we all have to use both sides. But what happens is when you become too heavy into your masculine energy, you leave no place and no space for a man or actual masculine partnership to come into your life. And so one reason why I wanted to say this is because right now there's so much going on in our country. We have different Black Lives Matter movements. We have so many protests. Now we see names of slave owners are coming off of buildings. We see that statues are being taken down. We see such a big part of change. Many companies have now recognized Juneteenth. Many large corporations have donated to movements that support Black life, period. And so while we have this momentum, I think it's very important that Black women, regardless of what your shade is, that we also reclaim the piece of our femininity that has always been denied, that has been intentionally destroyed, and that has truly never been allowed to resonate and bubble up with inside of us. So while we're claiming all of this and all of these moments are going on, Black women, let's make the conscious and intentional decision to become more feminine. So I have about 10 different ways. You all know I love to drop tips. I love to be a little methodical with it. And I love to give you all tips on not only information, but also tips on how to make this a reality and how to actually utilize something tangible that you can use in your life. So I'm gonna try to make these as brief as possible. But one thing that we must do, African American women, my lovely sisters, and I mean from the lightest and brightest African American sister to the darkest, okay? We must all learn and allow ourselves to receive. Feminine energy is all about receiving. We can look at our physical anatomy of our womb, even of our vagina or our yoni. We know our bodies are made to receive. We can also look and see that men, they're made to give. If we look at the anatomy, so they're made to give and to work and to push and to take action, and we're made to receive. And don't get me wrong, again, we have to use both sides all the time, but again, for Black women, we have to be very intentional about giving ourselves the space to receive, honey. Relax, receive, sit back, let your boyfriend do something nice, allow your husband to do something. Even sometimes I've seen this in a store. I've seen a stranger want to help someone with the door, and I got it, you know, and I understand why. It's because we're in this go mode and we don't need anybody to help us. We don't need anything from anybody. But let's change the mindset and look and analyze and see, how can I receive more? Even when someone's giving you a compliment, instead of saying, well, it's old, or I'm still trying to lose weight, or whatever, whatever, how we do, say thank you, receive the compliment. Don't deflect it. When someone's trying to give you a gift, when somebody's trying to be nice, learn to receive that. Even more so, receive love, receive kindness, receive peace, receive a nice gesture, and even parts of yourself, freeing yourself, Receive the freedom that you need to arrive and continue to develop and become your best self. Number two, a big part of femininity is we must silence our negative self-talk. Oftentimes we are overly critical of ourselves. And when we become overly critical, we always think people are judging us. And when we always think people are judging us, we create a wall. And when that wall is up, that wall it's defensive. And that wall oftentimes hinders you from receiving. So keep that in mind. Eliminate the negative self-talk. Begin to honor yourself. Begin to respect yourself. Watch how you address yourself, as well as how you address and what you automatically think of others, particularly others that look like you. Number three, this is a big one. I know, listen, sister, I come in peace, but I just want to tell you, we must release the need to associate hard work with our inherent identity. A part of the hard work, again, it comes from slavery. It comes from many systemic things that have been put in place. But again, while we're changing systems, let's change our mental perspective and let's stop. Yes, we know, okay, we have to work hard, but why is it that even, I work hard, I do this, I make this amount, I can do these things all by myself and I don't need anyone's help. And I know that a part of that is our empowerment, but everything has to have balance. So create space to where your hard work, yes, it is a part of you, but it is not just automatically an inherent part of your identity. It's not the way you would describe yourself to others. I would not say I work hard when I describe myself to others. It doesn't mean that I don't work hard, but there are just so many other wonderful qualities about me that I don't have to say that I work hard so that it's a part of my worth or how I want someone to view me. Okay? Number 4. Again, sister, I come in peace, okay? I'm saying this up front. But this is the number one thing I want every African American woman to do in 2020. We must release the need to proclaim, to just own being this strong Black woman. To proclaim it to the world. I'm a strong Black woman. We're all strong. We have wombs. We can give life, whether you even use your womb to give life or not. You have one. That makes you strong. Your heart makes you strong. Your ability to think, to do what's best for you makes you strong. Your ability to walk away from a toxic situation, that makes you strong. Not the ability to stay in a toxic situation. See, oftentimes for Black women, we get our crown when we stay in a bad situation until it becomes better. And because we hung in there, we're strong. Let's change that. No, I'm strong because I will quickly walk away from a situation that does not serve me. It can be with someone I like, someone I care about. It can be family, friends, whatever. I will quickly leave any situation that does not serve my highest good, that does not nurture the woman who I am and who I am becoming. That's strength. Strength to love yourself. So many times the picture of the strong Black woman means that she's pouring into her cup. She's taking care of her kids. She's doing this for her husband. She's doing so much. But when we think of the image of the strong Black woman, all of us know we don't see that image as a woman who's doing self-care, who's nurturing, who does yoga, who gardens, things of that nature. We never see that side. We see someone that can go through the most difficult relationship, someone that can be there for everybody but herself. That's what we must stop. And even when we think about the mindset of the strong Black woman, we know that Black women, they are the most educated demographic in the United States. But yet and still, professionally, we are paid less than any counterpart, but particularly white men as well as white women. So being this strong Black woman, being this go-getter, it does help you provide. It does help you to pay for the things that you want. But to be completely honest, oftentimes you still get shortchanged. You're putting all of this energy into whatever. You're trying to be the best. You're trying to win awards. Many Black women know, particularly Black women that work in corporate America, it's tough. You have to bite your tongue. Oftentimes when you want to speak up for yourself, you're viewed automatically as angry and aggressive. So it's like you do all of this hard work, and most times you're in it. Not most times, but there are times when we're in environments that aren't even conducive to who we are. We're still underpaid. So it's just like, why? Yes, we must work hard, but I mean, let's just balance things out and put them into perspective. But we know that we are strong without constantly having to tell ourselves that we are strong. And one thing about it, ladies, I will say this: if you are dating a man that's constantly refers to you as strong, this the first couple, like, not only, yes, look at yourself, but if you're dating him, you may want to either early on let him know that you don't consider that a compliment, or that may just be like a little slight red flag, because I'm not trying to be strong. I want you to be strong. Okay? And again, we all have strength. We all have weakness. We all have masculine. We all have feminine. So we are strong. We know that. We know that. But the strength that is projected and oftentimes associated with Black women is one of aggression, one of just independence. I don't need anyone's help. And that is the narrative that we're trying to shift and change. Number 5, it's okay to be vulnerable. Queen. Again, being the strong Black woman, never having a space to be vulnerable, even with our friends sometimes. Especially those of us who are truly like boss women, we oftentimes never have. Everyone wants us to always have everything perfect. We always have to have everything figured out. Well, guess what? You don't. If you keep your heart pure, your thoughts lined up, what you want, and if you truly know that all things will work out for you, they will. And even when you're going through a difficult time, when things are not, it's okay to be vulnerable. Find your sister circle. Some people in your circle don't need to be in your circle. And sometimes we have this no new friends mentality, and instead of beginning to allow ourselves to align with the right type of women and friends that will truly enhance us, we're blocking some of those relationships out. So just keep that in mind. But it is very important to have a space where you can be vulnerable, even if that is your meditation space, where you can pray and you can meditate and you can cry. Just having a space like that, to where you're not carrying around the weight of yesterday, of yesteryear, of yesterdecade around inside of you. Very, very important. Therapy is very important. To have someone to talk to, it's very important to have a space to be vulnerable. It is very important for your mental health, for your heart health. Black women, I know at one point in time, Black women were having heart attacks at an alarming rate. And a part of that is just when we know when our body is at dis-ease, many times that can be associated with what is going on in our mind, and it's just manifesting through our body. Number 6, release aggression. Like, release the need to constantly be overly aggressive. Always want to be smart. Always ready to snap. Always ready to, you know, um, whatever. Give somebody the verbal business, um, curse someone out, whatever your aggression looks like. Even shut down. For some of us, we don't address anything. We just shut down. It's a passive aggression. But we still feel that aggression and we still carry it. It's very important that we release the aggression. It's very important that we release the negative attitude, particularly if you know you are becoming aggressive and getting a negative attitude for something that is very small and minute. Keep that in mind. That aggression reflects the shield. It reflects that you feel the need to defend yourself. And you feel the need to defend yourself because you've never felt defended. You've never felt protected. Maybe your father wasn't in the home and now you've always had to figure everything out. And that is weight. That is heavy. That's why we have to check the self-talk. That's why we have to check in internally with ourselves. That's why sometimes we have to be vulnerable and cry it out so that we don't carry around this aggression and this attitude. Number 7, be kind to yourself. A part of what I was saying with the negative self-talk, be kind to yourself. Be self-compassionate. When you make a mistake, accept it, figure out how to fix it, but that negative talk where we're bashing ourselves, why did I do this, blah, 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 whether it's relationship, job-wise, kids, we know bad decisions can come in any shape, form, size, in any area of our lives. We will all possibly and eventually make a decision that we probably could have made a better one. It's okay. But when you make a decision that you wish you would have done better, just try to be kind to yourself. And even more than being kind to yourself, begin to affirm yourself. Affirm your beauty. Affirm your value. Affirm your softness. Affirm, I am feminine. I am sumptuous. I am soft. I am delicious. I am wonderful. Yes, I am fierce, but I'm also friendly. I'm also caring. I care about myself. I care about others. I am delightful. People love to be around me. I enjoy being around people. We have to begin, again, to change the narrative and do this in the mirror. Begin to look yourself in the eye, not for flaws, but to reflect and project love to yourself from the person where it honestly matters the most. You. Stop expecting love from everyone else. We enjoy love from our kids because it is very, very pure in nature. But again, if you have a child, you went through 9 months, then you had to clean. When they poop, you had to feed them. So you put in work for that love. It is very organic. But we put in work for even our child's love. So keep that in mind. Begin to remember, I love myself. I'm very important. I'm awesome. I'm magical. I'm creative. I'm funny. My life is good. My life is sweet. Things are always working out for me. And number 10, I did okay. Let me go ahead and wrap this up. Number 10, brown skin femininity is all about knowing that the world is your oyster. The world is your oyster. It is your platter. It is your buffet. It is your shopping spree. Walk around and embody that energy. Walk around knowing things always work out for you. Walk around knowing that all men of all demographics are always attracted to me. Not just this kind of man, not just that kind of man, but men of affluence, men of influence, they're always attracted to me. And I'm having this, telling yourself, especially if you're like, I'm brown skinned, but I know all men, all people are attracted to my energy. They want to be around me because I have a light that I've nurtured. that I keep shining bright through self-care, through being vulnerable, through owning my femininity. And so really begin to know the world is your oyster, but the first thing you have to do, you have to honor yourself by putting yourself first. So the world is your oyster, that's the ending, but to get to that step, you have to put yourself first. It's time. To all my brown skinned women, to all of my African American sisters, to all of the women of color, it is time for us to put ourselves first. Not our children, not our husbands, not our boyfriends, not our jobs, not our parents, not our companies. I mean, we're gonna get that bag. Trust me, women, we can use the left side and the right side of our brain. We can use the masculine and the feminine very easily. So begin to use your feminine by putting yourself first, saying no when you need to say no, and saying yes to the goodness in life so that you can receive it. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed these 10 tips. Thank you so much for tuning in to my channel. Have a wonderful day, and remember to embrace your inner feminine.